Welcome! In this series of short videos, we will look at topics common to both the PowerBasic console and Windows compilers. Today we will look at the remain and extract string handling commands. The basic language has always had some very powerful string handling commands, and PowerBasic is no exception. What we're going to look at today are two string handling commands called remain and extract. These commands are probably overlooked due to the very good functionality that the parse command has in PowerBasic. So let's start first with the remain command. If we declare a local variable called telephone, and we put into this telephone string the words home number followed by a telephone number, there are a number of ways of actually stripping out the text from this field and leaving just the number. But we're going to use the remain $command here to do it in a single line. In order to understand what the remain $command actually does, we're using it here to populate the telephone variable. Remain $takes a number of parameters. There is an optional first parameter, which we'll come back on in a moment. The first mandatory parameter is the string you wish to interrogate. In this case, we're interrogating the telephone string. The next parameter is what you're actually looking for within that string. In this case, we're using the any keyword to say any of the characters that follows is what we're looking for. So we're basically looking for the instance of any number. So what is remain $going to do to the telephone variable? Let's print it out our log and have a look. If we run the application now, we will see we're getting the value 810 followed by the remaining numbers. We're missing the first 0 character. What remain actually does is it looks for a match on any of these characters that we have put in. And having found one of these characters, it will return the remainder of the string. So in this case, it will look for the 0, find the 0 at the beginning of the number, and return all the string following that first 0. If we populate the telephone string with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by home number and then the telephone number, we can actually use the remain $command to skip over the first 4 characters and start at the 5th character of the string, performing exactly the same operation as we did a moment ago. So as you will see, after remain $, we are now showing the first optional parameter, in this case the number 5. This is to indicate to the command that we wish to start on the 5th character. And if we run it now, we will see we get exactly the same result coming back. It has skipped over the first 4 characters. It has then looked for the first matching character in its string, in this case a 0, and it has returned the remainder of the phone number. If we did not put that 5 in there, it would have stopped on the very first character. Like so. It would have skipped over the 1, and then you would have had all the numbers falling, as in 2, 3, 4, the home number, then the telephone number. So the optional first parameter gives you a way of skipping over characters that you're not interested in. As well as using the any parameter, we can also look for a particular string of more than one character. Let's say we're taking the telephone string and we're looking for a match to return the characters after the 5th character. But in this case, we're looking for 8101. If we run that now, we will see we get returned 345 and then the remainder of the telephone number. The command has skipped over the first 5 characters. It's then looked for the match of 8101. It finds that at the beginning of the telephone number, and it will return everything that remains in the string after that point. The optional parameter allows you to start somewhere further down the string. If you put this in as a negative number, it will work from the right-hand side of the string. So if we have a telephone number, as we have shown here, with the extension number after the telephone number, and we're interested in returning just the extension, we can use the same command. Now we are starting 8 characters in from the right hand side of the string. And then we're looking for ext as the beginning of the match we're looking for, and if we run that now, we'll see it quite easily returns the extension number 1234. Well, this kind of operation can be done with other string handling commands, for example parse and the left, right and mid dollar strings. Here we can perform the operation in a single line of code. So there will be times in your applications where you may want to actually make use of the remain dollar command. Now we will look at the extract dollar command, which is the complement to remain dollar. Whereas remain dollar gives you what remains in a string after finding a match, the extract will show you everything up until, but not including what you're looking for. So here we have a string with an address in it. If we want to extract everything up until but not including the first comma, we can do that quite easily in a single line of code. And here we're using the extract dollar command as the parameter to our fun log function. As extract dollar returns a string, this can quite easily be done. We don't have to populate an intermediate variable. So as you will see, the extract dollar command is taking 2 parameters here. The first being the string we wish to interrogate, and the second parameter being the delimiter that we're actually looking for. So what this will do is look at the address variable from the left hand side till it finds the first comma. And it will return everything up until that point and nothing after. So if we run the code now, we will see we get the 12 any street, which is the first part of the string up to but not including the comma. If we wish to extract everything which is after the zip string, we merely have to amend our delimiter to show for zip. If we run that code now, we will see we get everything up into but not including the string zip. So we get the 12 any street and comma and then anywhere and the final comma. Just like the remain command, the extract command has an optional first parameter. So if we wish to extract up to but not including the first comma, but starting from the third character onwards, we merely have to put the first parameter in this case the 3, followed by the variable we wish to interrogate, and then our delimiter, in this case the comma. If we run the code now, we will see we get any street, but we're missing the 12 from the beginning, because it's starting on the third character, which in this case is a space. If we're going to look at yet another scenario, let's look at 2 differently formatted addresses, address 1 and address 2. Address 1 has been delimited by a comma, the street number followed by the street name, followed by a comma delimiter. Address 2 has been similarly formatted, but its delimiter, rather than being a comma, is a semicolon. So can we handle this with one line of code? If we use the extract command again, with the optional parameter of 3, to say we wish to start at the third character in before we look for a match, we've followed that by the variable name, address 1, and then the word any. This instructs extract to look for any of these as delimiters. So it's looking either for the colon or the comma. So will we get the street name coming out for address 1? And we do indeed. We get the words any street. So will this work for address number 2? If we try running the code now, we will see it's given the same output for address number 2. So the use of the any keyword allows you to use any delimiter and gives a fair bit of flexibility on what the extract command can actually do, as a nice complement to both the remain and the parse commands. Hopefully you'll find these commands useful in your applications, but that's it for today. Thank you for watching.